if somebody crosses into Washington, D.C. from Virginia, does that satisfy, like, and you're going to pay for prostitution, the Mann Act?
You have not read me my Miranda rights, but I'm going to the 14th Amendment. Okay? Let's just put it this way. The Mann Act is a charge that, how should I say it? It's like charging people outside a methadone clinic with possession of heroin. It's what are you doing? What are you doing bringing the full force of the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Newark to prosecute 2 Mann Act counts? Well, what happened? He was found guilty of the Mann Act, 2 counts, and not guilty of RICO and the 2 sex trafficking. And here's why, in my book, and nobody's talking about this. When I did cases for the United States, I always thought about what's the jury going to think about when they look at the prosecution team. What are they going to think about? They're going to see Gene Rossi, and they may see 1 or 2, and I got to emphasize 1 or 2 other prosecutors. I tried a few cases by myself, but I never liked it. I just didn't like it. I like being with people. So what was the jury looking at when they saw the prosecution team for the Southern District of New York? Are you ready?
Okay, ready.
They saw six prosecutors, all white, all female, in their 20s and 30s. And who's the defendant? Goes without saying. It's Diddy. But what kind of team did Diddy have? He had a very diverse team. Very diverse. And I happen to believe that jury saw that contrast and then was filtering all the witness testimony and saying, something doesn't seem right here. Are they getting ahead of their skis? Are they trying too hard to put Diddy on a trophy and on the wall? I felt that way from the first day they tried this case and did opening statements. Not a lot of people want to talk about it, but that was hovering. I heard there were 7 or 8 prosecutors, but I think it was at least 6.
In the courtroom. And the tables there are 3 in front, 3 in back, if I recall, right? So you have 6.
I want to give you an example.
The optics. Yeah, let's do the optics.
That's what I say. Okay, it wasn't my case, and I'm not going to mention the name of the prosecutors. I'm not going to mention the plaintiff. But when I was with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Eastern District of Virginia, I remember vividly a civil case involving a person who was trying to get into the FBI and he lost his legs, or he was in a wheelchair. But for whatever reason, he wasn't picked to be in the FBI. He sued the United States of America for damages. Okay? I remember this like it was yesterday. The plaintiff had 2 or 3 attorneys. The government, you ready for this?
How many?
There were 6 prosecutors, civil prosecutors for the United States. Wow. And Linda, you hit the nail on the head. There were 2 tables. One table had 3 prosecutors. The second table had 3 prosecutors. And Linda, you're going to love this one. When they had sidebars where you walk up to the side of the judge, they turn on the white noise. It was a jury trial. All 6 prosecutors were in the sidebar. And the plaintiff is in a wheelchair. Well, guess who won? The plaintiff.
Yeah.
So when I mention these examples, it wasn't my trial, but I'm one of these junkies. I loved watching other trials in addition to doing my own. And I always learn by participating as an attorney, but also watching. That never left my mind. And when I was thinking about the Diddy case, I was remembering that case in Alexander, Virginia, many moons ago.
Isn't that interesting? Because I think the optics, you're absolutely right. You have the lead prosecutor, Maureen Comey, right? And then let me just see, there were actually 8 lawyers listed for the federal government. 5 of them were designated as leads. Five, okay? But we know that Maureen Comey was the lead, right?
Yeah.
They included Emily Ann Johnson, Madison Reddick Smicer, Mary Christine Slavic, Meredith Foster, and Mitzi Steiner. So you start having 6 prosecutors, really 6 leads because she's the boss, and then you have 2 others who may, be helping. And we always know there's other people helping. It's different than when you're a defense attorney and people look over and say, "Well, look at those 5 defense attorneys," but that's all we have. We don't have the other 10,000 people sitting up in the office.
I'm going to give you another example. Now, the 2 prosecutors that filed notices of appearance, I can't imagine the jury didn't figure out that they were also on the team, even though they weren't sitting at table. They were probably in the front row of the audience. But remember the OJ trial?
Yes.
Guess how many prosecutors in the OJ trial did a witness? Guess.
15.
Did a witness?
Yes. Who did a witness? Who did a
15? Was it 15?
There were 8
8
prosecutors. My hands can't get in here. And I remember one of them, his nickname was Woody. Okay, I don't know why I remember that. But when a jury's looking at that and they're seeing OJ, although he had a few himself, but they're saying to themselves, why the hell do they have 8 prosecutors to prosecute OJ? And at the end of the day, really, at the end of the day, it had a lot of witnesses. It wasn't the most complicated case. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To have 8 prosecutors. So that's just one reason why he was acquitted on 3 counts. That's one reason.
But the thing about that also, Gene, when you're looking at that, is some of those prosecutors, they came in for a day and then they left. They never sat. They never were there with the witness. So there was no way to just sit there. Sometimes you sit there and you're sitting there, but the jury's smiling at you and all. They just left.
Here's the other thing. Marcia Clark didn't speak in front of the jury, I think, for 2 months. And she's the lead. She lost all that credibility that she had. I think she gave the opening, but there was about 1 or 2 months where she did not handle a witness, i.e. speak in front of the jury. And then you're going to do closing? Come on. You have to develop a bond. When I did my trials in front of juries, of course, the government sits closest to the jury. I'm developing a rapport with them. We can't talk to each other, but they're feeling the love and passion of Gene Rossi. Absolutely. And I couldn't talk to him, but I would look at him. I wouldn't do what Diddy did, which I thought was stupid. I'm not glaring at him and trying to wink, but I could feel the jury was sort of bonding with me. It's a strange feeling, but it's a beautiful feeling. When you have 6 to 8 prosecutors, they don't have any connection with these prosecutors. There's too many of them.
How about the fact they tried to get off me before Michael? Michael, I'm going to go. Michael gave in because I spoke to you. I have one more question, Michael. Then I'll shut up.
Yeah, go ahead.
How about the fact that the 6, and I hate to bring race and gender into this, but I'm going to bring it because I think when we talk jury selection, talk to jury consultants, this is important.
Absolutely.
6 white females who tried to get the 1 black male juror off the jury when you have a defendant who is of a different race.
And you know what? Those jurors, they figured it out.